Welcome back to Session 4 of Design Thinking for Business Innovation. The subject that we're going to be talking about today is experimentation. But before we get started, let's look quickly at the territory we've covered in our first 3 sessions together. We began by looking at an overview of the design thinking process as being about 4 questions. What is, what if, what wows, and what works that allow us to generate and experiment with ideas. And we talked about the kinds of problems design thinking is especially well suited to solving. But design thinking, we noted, is about more than just a process and tools. And in session 2, we stepped away from the process focus and looked at you as an individual and the importance of your own mindset of learning. We talked about the innovation challenges of George and the success of Jeff, and about the role their differing mindsets played in preparing them to see and seize opportunity. We also looked at the process and practice in 2 very different organizations. We first looked at the Good Kitchen, using the approach to address the problem of poor nutrition in the elderly. Then in our last session, we met Chris Carter, an entrepreneur who saw an area of opportunity he wanted to explore: how to use social networking to help people adopt healthier lifestyle choices. And he used design thinking to help him generate ideas to accomplish that. In Me You Health, we focused in on the tools Chris and his partner Essential used to address our idea generation questions. What is and what if? In this session, we're going to look more in depth at the back end of the process, that of experimentation. Today, we'll look at a process that includes both the questions what wows and what works, and our steps 11 through 15. The 2 testing questions of what wows and what works start with the portfolio of napkin pitches that we generated at the conclusion of What If, and they end with the design of a real-world experiment that we'll call a learning launch. We'll illustrate this process using a 3rd story, this time that of a very large and established organization, IBM, using design thinking to rethink that old standby, the trade show, and figuring out how not only to generate great concepts, but also to figure out which ones wowed and worked in the marketplace. So we'll be looking for what we call the wow zone. It lives at the intersection of a customer wow. That is, we've identified something that offers better value to them and they want it. Then we have the execution wow. It fits with our capabilities as an organization to create it, or if not, we know we can find partners to help. And finally, we have financially the business model wow. It can help us to meet our financial objectives. And we'll determine whether or not any new idea meets our test of the wow zone through a process of experimentation. This process is pretty straightforward. It starts when we immerse ourselves in the data, which we've already done during the what is stage. Then in what if, we generate ideas. Now we're at the stage in what wows where we're going to surface the assumptions underlying why our ideas are good, and we're going to conduct a small experiment. The results of that experiment will tell us what comes next. If our assumptions prove to be true, then congratulations, you've got a winning and tested idea and you're ready to scale it. If our assumptions are disproven, though, we've got to think. Is the assumption that was disproven so fundamental that the idea really has lost its value? In which case, we're going to table it. Notice I said table, not kill, because the idea that doesn't make it today may be one of tomorrow's biggest winners. And we really want to keep an inventory of ideas ready to implement as situations change. Sometimes, though, when our assumptions are disproven, we're able to iterate, revise our idea so that we can accommodate the new learning we've had, and then we go back into the loop of idea generation.